Hey everybody, we're going to start in just a couple of minutes, okay? Grant is just cleaning a couple of things and we'll be right with you guys, all right? Just sit back for a minute and we will see you in a sec. All right, folks, welcome. Can everybody hear me okay? Wonderful. All right. My name is Neil Popish. I am the director of the JCC, the program director of the JCC, and I'm thankful you guys are all here to join us today. I want to introduce to you Grant Engelmann of Better Brain and Body Bistro. A little bit about Grant. He has a passion for nutritional science and education. After a long battle with an autoimmune disease that culminated in an anaphylactic shock reaction to gluten and dairy in 1992, Grant dedicated his life to teaching the simple principle of food as medicine. He has developed recipes that aid lowering cholesterol, reducing blood pressure, controlling blood sugar, and his newest class is called Fat Burning Foods. Grant's Better Body, Brain and Body Bistro is dedicated to educating the public about specific foods and nutrients that actually reduce the aging process, increase immunity, and stimulate cell rejuvenation. He has taught all over the country since 2001, helping people to attain the highest quality of life possible. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Engelmann. So,
hello all. Welcome.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
I can hear
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to all of you. Can I do just a little head count with names? I like to use names. Would you just quickly
Karen?
introduce yourself and tell me what you'd like to get out of today's class called Simple Smoothies?
I'll give you guys, so we don't all talk at once. So why don't Jay begin?
I'm Jay. I'm actually visiting from the Albert JCC in Long Beach. And the reason I'm here is I'm really interested in getting some ideas on healthy smoothies.
Wonderful, Jay. Awesome.
Arnold?
Arnold from Henderson. Also interested in these smoothies. That's what attracted my eye. I had done some and I had stopped. So maybe we could get started again.
And Karen?
Welcome, Arnold.
I'm just interested in the different smoothies and what he comes up with, because I usually do smoothies that are usually vegetable and some fruit based. So I'm just interested.
Very good. There might be someone else on, but I don't see them on here. Is there anybody else out there? We're supposed to have 13 people, but there's only 5 of us. Oh, here comes somebody. Jackie,
Yes.
would you?
Yes, I'm interested in vegetable smoothies because I almost only do fruit ones.
Well, today we're going to focus on fruits as well. I hate to disappoint you.
Oh,
These are all smoothies that boost immunity
okay.
in light of the COVID.
You also have Mariana here. We don't see you, but can you hear us, Mariana?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Very good. And can you see us?
Yes.
Awesome. Very good. We're just, everyone's introducing themselves and letting us know why they're here. If you'd like to do so. Mariana?
Oh, okay. I'm Mariana Engel, and I just thought this would be a very interesting class, particularly summertime. Smoothies are really good. and it's a chance to learn something new.
Awesome. Well, welcome everybody. We might get a few more people coming on late, and if they do, we will welcome them. But at this point, I will hand it over to Grant. And if you want me to share anything, just let me know.
All right. You know,
Excuse me, could you pull the shade down because your face is obscured? No, the other one, the one facing outward.
Yeah, I could see that little.
we're gonna move over this way a little bit.
No, you're still in the sunlight.
There we go. How about that?
We're gonna move
That
everything.
better?
over to-
Perfect. Yes, much
That
better.
better?
Thank you.
And now we got light coming in from the side. Ah, perfect.
Much better, much better.
Is that better? How's that?
Perfect.
Very good.
All can see me.
Very good.
You like my new get up here. This is Neil gave me this. This I usually wear my chef's coat when I do classes like this, but
Too hot.
I think this is nicer, brighter. So, well, we will start in, and Neil is kind enough to assist me today with the technical portion. So we're going to bring up our PowerPoint presentation. And as Neil mentioned, I got into this whole health and fitness profession about 30 years ago. I discovered that I had an allergy to both gluten and dairy. And coming from a dairy state, I originate from Minnesota. My mother was a magnificent cook and baker and would often make bars and brownies and cookies and cakes and pies and muffins and so forth, not only for our family, but for all the neighbor kids and the whole Jewish mother thing. You know, are your parents feeding you? You're a little skinny. And then send them home with a pan of brownies or bars or whatever. And so I just take right after my mother. She died morbidly obese in 2003, God rest her soul, but had a wonderful passion for food and baking. And so essentially I've taken a lot of her recipes and converted them to gluten-free, dairy-free, quasi-keto, quasi-vegan alternatives. So today we're going to be talking about smoothies. We're going to make 6 different smoothies, all with immune boosting foods that have immune boosting ingredients. And a few months ago, I did some initial research, just thinking I was going to help people with the COVID-19 scare. And I discovered that all of these foods had medical research and were published in medical nutritional journals. I had extensive research both on animals and humans in the university setting, and many of them were longitudinal studies, international studies, and most of them were published in PubMed on the National Institute of Health website. So to my delight and surprise, I discovered that all 10 of the foods that I researched also fight viruses, including the coronavirus. So we're going to talk a little bit about immunity initially and the various components of the immune system, what causes immunity to be compromised, how you build a better immune system and ward off not only viruses, but colds and flu and all kinds of things, inflammation and heart disease and all of that. So glad that you could attend and looking forward to getting to know you all better. I've got some information for you at the end of class and would like to get your information and follow up with you once you have an opportunity to make these recipes. But we're going to do them here and start in. And if we can go to our first slide, Neil, we'll talk initially about the immune system. So welcome to all of you. I think we have, what, 4?
No, there's 1, 2, I think there's 7.
7. Wonderful.
Yeah. Did I go too far? Here we go.
Okay, we're going to start a little bit. We're not going to go into a whole in-depth discussion on the immune system, but we'll talk about the components of the immune system. So I just ask that you Turn off all distracting devices so that you get the most bang for your buck out of our time together today, and hope you enjoy it. Okay, go on to the next one. Yeah.
I did.
Okay. All right, here's our course outline. We're going to talk a little bit about the immune system. I have an immunity assessment for you that we can email to you, and it'll just give you a little idea as to where you are currently and how susceptible you are to colds and flu and sickness, and how resilient you are to some of these things, particularly the COVID-19 scare. And then we're going to talk about the organs of immunity, and then immunity foods and immunity nutrients in those foods and what causes them to boost your immune system and make you more resilient to some of these things that come our way unexpectedly. And then we'll do some questions and answers and takeaways and get your feedback, and then do some evaluations. All right. And that's the scoring, of course, for the immunity assessment, which you will have shortly. All right, so we will start in with this material. Okay, so we can go on to the next one. Okay, so what is the immune system? I remember years ago, my maternal grandmother raised me in part, and she was a shut-in, so I would oftentimes go over and help her with grocery shopping and cleaning and some of the things that she could not do on her own. And she was struggling with colds and flu, seasonal stuff. And this is, of course, years before Corona and H1N1 and SARS and all of that. But I said, you know, Grandma, I think we've got to work on rebuilding your immune system. And she said, well, where do I go to get a new one? She always had a great sense of humor. So I said, well, I think we're going to have to start with some foods that build your immunity. And here are some of the components, not all, but some of the components of your immune system. You might be surprised to find out that your colon is the #1 organ of immunity, as we're going to find out here shortly. It is your greatest resource in the defense against all kinds of creeping crud. And then you've got lymphocytes, lymph nodes in your neck and under your arms and in your groin. And they produce lymphocytes, essentially white blood cells. Your spleen, of course, cleanses your blood. And believe it or not, your blood gets dirty and needs cleaning. And then, of course, your thymus gland, which is right between your heart and your esophagus. And that produces what's called T cells. So we'll talk about some of the nutrients in these foods that stimulate those organs of immunity. Okay, thanks, Neil. Okay, first of all, the white blood cells. There are a number of them here, what I call the phils. You've got basophils, eosinophils, lymphocytes, and neutrophils and monocytes. And these are really your first line of defense when you get either a cold or a bacterial infection or some type of inflammation, or God forbid, a virus, the coronavirus. These are the things that go to work right away on that antigen, that invader of your body, so to speak. These are the vanguard, if you will, of your defense system. Okay, we can go on to the next one. And then I found a book a couple years ago called Grain Brain by Dr. Perlmutter. Actually, I think it was maybe about 4 years ago. And I was just sharing with Neil that short of the Torah, that book has changed my life. This is the sequel to that book by Dr. David Perlmutter, who is a neurologist, and he has written Brain Maker. He talks about the importance of the immune system, particularly your microbiome, which is found in your colon, to boost immunity. And according to him, Dr. Perlmutter believes that no less than 80% of your body's immunity is composed of the cells in your microbiome. Every human being has about 1 trillion cells from head to toe, your body has about 1 trillion cells. However, in your gut, you've got about 10 times the bacteria, the disease-fighting bacteria. So about 10 trillion cells comprise your microbiome. And as we get older, and if we take medication, either prescription drugs or over-the-counter drugs, or NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, or as children, antibiotics, the immune system is compromised. And I think if I remember correctly, from my early days in the health, fitness, and nutrition field, we start losing anywhere between 5 and 10% of that healthy bacteria every decade after age 30. So by the time you get to age 80 or even 90, you've got half or less than half of the bacteria that you had in your teens and 20s. So that microbiome is very critical for preventing disease. Okay, we can go on to the next one. Do you have a question? By the way, if you have any questions anywhere along the line, feel free to ask. Just raise your hand and we'll do what we can to address your question. Okay, so where do you start? If you've got a compromised immune system, he talks a little bit in the book about babies that were born cesarean and cesarean section, and those also, like me, who were bottle fed. And I had all kinds of sicknesses as a child. And really didn't know why. Of course, I was on all kinds of antibiotics. I was not cesarean, but I was bottle fed. And those healthy bacteria in breast milk and also in the birth canal, which are absorbed through your skin during the process of labor and delivery, are absolutely critical to your health all throughout your life. I'm working with a fellow now, a wonderful Jewish fellow who was born cesarean and then bottle fed, and he is having all kinds of health problems. I asked if I could guess his age. I love him to pieces, but I initially guessed somewhere around 50 to 60, and he was about half that. So those initial years are really important in developing your microbiome. So what happens if you don't get a good start in life? This is what I recommended to my friend, is going out and getting some good probiotics, which you see here on the screen now, which you can get the super greens. You can actually get at Walmart or at Whole Foods for pennies on the dollar. I think that particular brand and size is $14.95 at Walmart, and you can get it in the pharmacy section. And I take, a half teaspoon to a teaspoon every day and feel wonderful, absolutely wonderful. It works. Okay, on to the next one. The other food that is very, very high in probiotics is kimchi, which in this picture looks like lasagna. It is not. It is actually a Korean cabbage. And you can also buy it at Whole Foods now. Some of the mainline stores like Smith's are starting to carry some brands of kimchi. And I can't say that I'm real fond of the taste as yet, but I mix it in with other things like cabbage, and I'll put it on the side of my salad. And it's very, very good. All right, so today we're going to talk about some of the ingredients that I found in the research that boost immunity. And so you see some of the ingredients there. Acai. How many of you are familiar with acai? Have you heard of it before?
Yep.
It's a purple fruit or a purple berry, a dark purple berry, raised in Central and South America and some places in Asia as well. And I tell you, you get a lot of bang for your buck. It has what gives it its dark color is a flavonoid, one of the members of the flavonoid family called anthocyanin, which is shown to not only boost immunity and T cells, but it also fights viruses, including the coronavirus. So in lieu of that, we are going to use berries today because anything that's blue or red in color is going to have that exact same chemical in it. So we're going to use blueberries, cherries, blackberries. Anybody else can think of any other foods that are either red or blue in color? There are lots of them. Just shout them out.
Grapes.
Grapes, and I've got red grapes here. Absolutely, we're going to use these.
Cranberries.
Cranberries, absolutely. Great for the kidneys as well. What else?
Raspberries.
Raspberries, absolutely. Also very, very high in fiber, which is what's called a prebiotic. Prebiotics are distinguished from probiotics in that they are literally food or fuel for probiotics, which are living organisms. So you literally have bugs, about 10 trillion bugs in your gut that help you to digest food and absorb the vitamins and minerals and nutrients of those foods. Yeah, there are all kinds of things. There's red onion, also very, very high in anthocyanins, part of the flavonoid family that gives food its color. And then you've got even red asparagus and lots of colorful foods. So if it's red or purple in color, it's probably going to have that specific flavor. Beets are another one. I've got that on the list there. And of course, healthy bacteria, we talked about this in the probiotics. By the way, you can get, if you don't want to spend $14 to $20 or $30 on probiotic, you can buy a little pack of probiotic like a stick at Whole Foods, $1.50, $1.59, 69, something like that. And just try it out. And it's just loaded with all kinds of wonderful things. Put it on everything. You can put it on your oatmeal, your smoothies, however you like. Okay, we're also going to work with coconut milk today. Coconut is one of the other ingredients that helps to boost immunity.
I'm learning about smoothies.
Right?
I'm learning about smoothies.
Oh, okay. I thought you had a question. And then we're going to put a little coffee in there. I've got some instant coffee, and I also made some coffee, which we're going to add to this. Believe it or not, coffee is an immune boosting food. Anybody heard of the new bulletproof coffee? Shout it out if you have. Bulletproof coffee you can get, again, just about anywhere now. Smith's, I saw it just a little while ago, and Whole Foods, and what's the other one? Sprouts. Bulletproof coffee comes in a brown and orange package. It is coffee raised at altitude between 2,000 and 4,000 feet. It is the highest and the richest in flavonoids and antioxidants, vitamins and minerals. It is a very, very powerful coffee, and it's usually on sale somewhere between $10 and $15, depending on where you go. So we're going to talk a little bit about coffee and then chocolate. I've got chocolate as well. Not many people know that chocolate and cocoa powder is an antioxidant filled with those flavonoids that boost immunity. So there you go. Okay, and then we're also going to talk a little bit about yogurt. How many of you know that yogurt is filled with healthy bacteria and cultures? Yay. This particular yogurt I just learned about last week, it's called Kite Hill. And I'm always careful with yogurt because the vanilla and the plain yogurts are low in sugar, but the flavored yogurts can have as much as 20 or 30 grams per serving. And as we're going to find out here shortly, sugar is one of your worst enemies. It's the worst nightmare in terms of reducing your immunity rather quickly. So this one had, I think, only 1 gram of sugar per serving, and this is what we're going to use today. Okay. And then, I don't know if you had any, wanted to add that ice.
Can we go grab it? They're not seeing you, so let me know if I need to unshare it. So they can watch. Are you going to make something now?
Yeah, I've got the next slide coming up here. Okay, so any questions on what we've covered so far? That's a lot to digest, literally. Mentally, emotionally, physically. Any questions, folks? Now, what we're going to cover today. Perfect. Questions? How do I know if they have a question? Okay. No questions? Everybody?
Not yet.
Okay. Is it Karen?
Yes.
Go ahead, Karen.
Well, I was just wondering, if you can't eat yogurt, what do you use instead?
I'm not saying you can't eat yogurt. I'm just saying that it's wise to eschew the high sugar yogurts, which are typically the flavored yogurts.
Well, I know, but I'm lactose intolerant and I generally don't eat yogurt.
Okay, I am as well, and this is made with almond milk.
Oh.
So, and almonds and almond butter also have a couple of amino acids in them which fight viruses, one of which is called lysine and the other is called arginine. And they also boost immunity.
Yeah, I eat a lot of almond butter.
Pardon me?
I eat a lot of almond butter.
Oh, good. You got to have a healthy immune system, Karen.
I hope so.
That's awesome. Yeah, and peanuts also, peanuts, walnuts, pecans, Brazil nuts also have a lot of arginine in them. Coconut oil. I put coconut oil in my coffee every morning and I feel like $1,000,000. And of course, it also is great for building collagen. It's great for repairing your skin. It's wonderful for a sunburn. Now in summer. So yeah, all kinds of healthy alternatives for pennies on the dollar. Okay, well, we're going to start with your permission, and if you want to take notes or write these recipes down, they're not so hard and fast. You can add a little more fruit, a little more milk, a little less yogurt, whatever you want to do to personalize it, and we'll just go from there. We'll take it as is, as long as you get these nutrients in some form. We're going to start with our very first one here, and Neil has given me a beautiful blender to use today. Okay, the first one, we're going to start with a base of yogurt. And I'm going to put yogurt in almost all of these. And again, this is not made with milk. Karen, how do you do with unpasteurized?
I have never tried unpasteurized.
I don't seem to have a problem with it, but I go easy. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, because I can't eat cottage cheese. Wait a minute. Cottage cheese, I can't drink milk. I can do it for a couple of days, and after that,
okay.
It's not so good.
Okay. Well, I had a friend bring me to one of the farmers that sell whole milk in Florida. I just moved back from Florida. My father passed away there. And there, I didn't learn until that day that it's illegal to sell unpasteurized milk in Florida. And so we went way back into the woods to this guy, and he said, I can't give out this guy's information. It's all word of mouth. But essentially, it's the black market. I'm like, really? It's against the law?
That's
State law? I don't know. Go figure. Okay, we're going to start out with yogurt, and then I'm going to put in a little bit of coconut milk. And this I get unsweetened. I don't know if you all can see this. I'm going to hold it up here. This is coconut silk, and I got it at Smith's. You can also get it at Whole Foods or Albertsons. And I get the unsweetened kind. I try to avoid sugar as much as possible. And I put about a half cup to a cup in there. All right. And then we're going to start with our berries. And we're going to make 5 or 6 smoothies today with these berries. Now, this particular berry mix is blackberries, cherries, and blueberries, all of which are high in that flavonoid called anthocyanin, which is shown to fight viruses, including the coronavirus, which, by the way, has been around for about 15 years. And I think that's about enough, about a half cup of that. And go from there. Okay, all of these smoothies are going to have just 3 ingredients, so we're going to keep them real simple. That's why we call it simple smoothies. All of them have just 3 ingredients today. And so I'm going to mix this up. And Neil is going to be my tester here. Let's see here. I don't know if it's not blended. That might help. That's all right. Okay. All right. Go from there. Do you all have access to blenders at home or food processors or what do they call it? NutriBullet? You can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to mix this up. What I like to do is pulse the smoothie. You can do it whatever way you like, but I like to pulse it on ice crush. Tell you what, I am going to add just a little bit of ice. My hands are clean. Just wash them per the CDC guidelines. Okay, I'm going to hold this up so you can see how brightly colored this is. Everybody see this? This is about as dark red as you can get. Those are all those flavonoids in there, those disease-fighting flavonoids and antioxidants, but particularly the anthocyanin, which is part of the flavonoid family. Okay, we're going to give one to Neil. I'm going to give one, test it out myself. Got a few chunks in there. Neil, there you go.
All right.
That's just about the right consistency or texture.
Get to see my face when I eat because I'm the pickiest eater in the world.
There you go. All right, we'll give it a try.
That's good. Yeah.
Not too sweet, not too
No,
tart.
it's not sweet at all. It's not, and neither is a tart.
Okay, awesome. Now these should be pretty mild, pretty mellow. Not bad. Coconut milk, even though it's unsweetened, there are natural sugars in coconut that give it a good taste and texture as well. So between the yogurt and then the almond, or excuse me, the almond yogurt and the coconut milk, it should be pretty good. That is good. Okay, we'll set this aside and go on to our next one.
Yeah, we have a question and from Jackie. She wanted to know if we're going to be emailing the recipes.
Yes. All these recipes to you, absolutely. And then we'll send them along with the assessment, your health assessment, and the class evaluation, because I want to hear back from you. And if I can get your contact information, we'll stay in touch and go from there. Okay, any questions on that one? That was simply the fruit, yogurt, and coconut milk. By the way, I'm using yogurt and ice as the base for each
How
one.
much yogurt was that you put in?
Pardon me?
How much yogurt was that you put in?
I put in about 2 tablespoons of yogurt.
Oh, that's it.
2 to 3 tablespoons, yeah, for each one. Now that gave, what, 2 servings? So for our purposes, we're just doing this quickly, but if you want to add more, you're welcome to.
Okay.
You can experiment a little bit. Some people like their smoothies a little thicker than others. And, you know, I don't know, any of you buy smoothies when you go to Whole Foods? Their
No.
coffee stand or their baristas usually will make smoothies for you at the same place. Any of you done that?
Sometimes.
Yeah. And then it's kind of weird the way they do it. The one in Henderson at Town Square, they'll have another smoothie stand for just vegetable smoothies, kind of on the other end of the store. And then their fruit smoothies over by the barista. So why they do it that way, I have no idea, but oh well. Okay, this next one, again, I'm going to start with a base of yogurt, a couple tablespoons. And this time I'm going to add a little avocado. Anybody know the benefits of avocado? Avocado in a fruit.
The oil?
Pardon me?
The oil is very good. Trans fat? No.
It's a monounsaturated fat. They call it MUFA. And years ago, I had a client that had very high cholesterol. She had had a massive stroke the year before she met me, the year before we worked together. And her LDL cholesterol was very elevated. She was on, if you can believe, she was on her 6th statin drug. And the statin drugs are designed to target the LDL cholesterol. Those would be Pravachol and Zocor, Lipitor, what's the other, Crestor, those types of drugs. So I said, well, with your doctor's permission, I'm going to put you on 1 avocado a day. And she went mashugana. She said, Grant, that's all fat. I said, you're right. It's about 30 grams of fat per avocado. This one might be a little bit more because it's a little bigger. I've got another one cut up here. But she was just desperate enough to try it. And she said, well, this LDL is creeping up again to the point where it was just slightly before the stroke. So I'm just going to put in about 1/8 of an avocado. And sure enough, in 3 months, she came back. She was absolutely delighted. She said the doctor's report was excellent. Both LDL and triglycerides were back to normal. Total cholesterol was back to normal, or within the range where they wanted her. And the doctor said, whatever you're doing, it's working. Keep up the good work. So I'm a big believer in avocados. I try to have 2 or 3 avocados, whole avocados, every week. They're just wonderful. And then I'm going to add these grapes. I got red grapes here on sale at Smith's today, by the way, for 88 cents a pound. And I washed them off, and I'm just going to put a handful in here. You can do a half cup, whatever you like. I love red grapes. Red grapes also, in addition to having this virus-fighting anthocyanin chemical in it, part of the flavonoid family, has an anti-inflammatory chemical called resveratrol. So if you have inflammation anywhere in your body, from gingivitis to swollen ankles, that is an indication that you have compromised immunity. And this chemical in the red grapes will help with that very quickly, within minutes, actually. It doesn't take long, and you don't have to eat many of them. Okay, so I've got my red grapes in there. I've got about a 1/8 to 1/4 of an avocado. You can add more or less as you like. I've got a couple tablespoons of yogurt, and now I'm going to add dark chocolate. Dark chocolate is also loaded with flavonoids, and this I got, believe it or not, at Smith's today for $3. Usually cocoa or organic cocoa can be expensive. I've seen it as much as $10 to $15 at Whole Foods. I'm going to give you a little caveat on cocoa. To the extent that you're able, you've probably seen the Hershey's cocoa, the baking cocoa, all of that for making cookies and bars and that type of thing. Try to avoid buying the Dutch processed. It sounds innocuous. It sounds very harmless. But what Dutch processing does is it heats the cocoa and removes the majority of those healthy antioxidants and flavonols. So it takes it from a healthy food to a toxic food. And then of course, you know, for bars and all of that, then they add tons and tons of sugar. So you can also get baker's chocolate. Try to get as close to 100% as you can. If you need to add a sweetener, I use stevia. Anybody familiar with stevia? Or
Yes.
Truvia? I think Truvia is Truvia here.
Yeah.
That's sweetened with monk fruit. But stevia does not affect your insulin. So it's a godsend for diabetics. It is the most wonderful thing that I found. It's plant-based. It is a plant. It's a leaf, essentially. And to me, it tastes like sugar. I've been living on stevia for years, and to me, it's wonderful. So we're going to add a little bit of this non-Dutch processed natural cocoa. All right, I'm just going to put a little bit in here. You might think this is kind of strange. Cocoa with grapes? But it works. It's wonderful. Oh, perfect. Neil's got some spoons for me here. Thank you, Neil. All righty. I'm going to set that there, and I'm going to add a little bit more of my coconut milk. I think coconut and chocolate go very, very well together. By the way, that was another one of the foods that I suggested to my client with high cholesterol. Dark chocolate, you're welcome to this list. I've got no less than 14 foods that fight fat. No kidding. They really fight fat without exercise. And I've been a personal trainer. I've been a strength training specialist. I've taught exercise physiology. I believe in exercise, but they really burn fat even without exercise. So big believer in chocolate. Okay, here we go. There we go. Any of you folks remember Jay Kordich? Jay the Juice Man Kordich? This isn't funded thoroughly enough, but I think this will work. You remember him? He had the big, I don't even know if he's still alive or not. He had one of the first juicers on the market. Want to try that one?
All right, here we go.
Anyway, Jim Carrey did a parody of him on In Living Color years ago. And that may be a little bit more cocoa than I.
Very cocoa-y.
Very cocoa.
Very chocolatey.
Very chocolatey, yes. It's chocolate and red grapes. It almost tastes like pudding. Consistency.
Yes, very much so.
Now, because cocoa can be a little bitter, here's where you might want to add your stevia. And stevia I get, again, at Walmart or Smith's. Usually you can find it on sale, 12 to 24 ounces between a box. Usually comes in a box. Although you can get it in liquid form as well. And I spend usually about $2 or $3, depending on, but I've seen it as high as $5 and $6 at Whole Foods. So be aware of that. I'm always looking for a bargain. And if I can't find it in one store, I'll go to another, even if I have to go across town. Okay, that was good. That was our avocado, cocoa, grape smoothie. Not bad. All right, great for heart disease as well. All right, as long as we got my cocoa in here, I'm going to add coffee now as our next ingredient. So I got cocoa, coffee here. This is our next one. And I'm going to add a little bit more of our frozen mixed fruit. By the way, I just got this at Smith's. You can get mixed berries. This one happens to be blackberries, cherries, and blueberries, but you can get blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries, or blueberries, raspberries, and strawberries for about $1 at Walmart, or 89 cents, somewhere around there. I'm going to put a little bit in there. Of course, our base is yogurt, coconut milk, and the ice. And we will mix this together as well. And if you really want to get more bang for your buck, try combining your prebiotic at the same time with your probiotic. So in other words, if you wanted to take that probiotic packet and put it in here, and sometimes it's flavored as well, you can do that. And the fiber in the prebiotic will actually cause a proliferation of that healthy bacteria in your gut. It will literally cause it to spread along the lining of your colon. And it will, according to the research, it will literally block, it will act like a wall, blocking the entry of the virus through the epithelial cell so that it cannot enter the cell. And then it causes the host cells to get thicker and denser. And of course, you know, viruses cannot survive unless they enter a host cell. So you're getting 2 types of immunity there at work. Okay, so I put in my coconut, my cocoa. I'm going to put in my coconut milk. I put in a little yogurt. I put in the berries. All right.
You also said you put coffee in there.
And I put coffee in because I think coffee and chocolate go well together. And I'm going to put in a little bit more ice.
I have a question.
Question, go for it.
Did you use regular coffee or decaf?
I use regular. I recommend avoiding decaf when possible, and I'll tell you why. Most of the decaf on the market uses the same chemical that the oil refineries use to break oil down into gasoline. It's a toxin. Plus, it's caffeine, it's the natural caffeine research shows seems to fight viruses and the entities. So, yeah, you can find that bulletproof coffee. Oh, man, it's a godsend. Okay, I'm going to blend this together. You go a little bit longer on that because a bit more ice. Okay. Neil is our test subject here. Chunks in there, but chunks of ice and fruit, I think. All right.
This was my favorite one so far.
Okay. Chocolate and coffee.
Not too chocolatey, and I get the coffee.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think chocolate and coffee go great together. By the way, share another story with you. On the way to the J today, I passed the intersection of Sahara and Jones, which probably doesn't mean anything to you, but 12 years ago, I was preparing for a bodybuilding competition. And I went after work, in a very quick workout, and I was very tired. Of course, you know anything about bodybuilding, you're cutting your carbs, calories, you're very crabby, you're tired, you're obsessing about food. And they say never work out when you're tired, hungry, or in a hurry. For me, it was perfect. I don't know if you all are familiar with the Smith machine, but I loaded it up at over 300 pounds. I was doing overhead shrugs. All I had to do was put on the safety, take a few seconds. I chose not to do that because I was in a hurry. And I dropped over 300 pounds on my head and broke my neck. Now, thank God it could have been worse. I could have been a quadriplegic. I could have been killed. But I discovered that I had a condition encephalitis, which is damage to the front. It fell right here, top of my head. which is similar to what professional footballers, collegiate football players get with repetitive head injury. Well, all it took is one blow for me, and it damaged the cortical areas of my brain in the prefrontal cortex that's responsible for planning and critical thinking. And I noticed that I was just crying a lot. I was unreasonably irritable and angry, and I really didn't know why. And I'd have friends come to the Las Vegas area that had known me from the Midwest, and they said, Grant, you're just not quite right. You're not the same. What's wrong? And I wasn't associating it with the brain injury, because I was able to walk and move, and I didn't even go to the hospital. I didn't even go to the emergency room. I saw some stars. I had some guys help pick the weight off me, and I walked away. So I thought, let that be that. But I discovered years later, through the help of a friend who's a clinical psychologist, that I had a condition called encephalitis. So I do healthy fats every day, because the brain is a majority of fat. About 80% of your brain is fat. And so I found an article in a nutritional journal that talked about stem cell regrowth in the brain. And they recommended 3 things: healthy fats like avocados, coconuts, coconut oil, olives, olive oil, those types of things. And then they talked about intermittent fasting. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that. And then high intensity interval training, which I do. And 12 years later, I'm virtually recovered. So, but there are no cheat days. I live like this. This is my MO every day.
How many of these do you drink a day?
You can do as many as you like. I will caution you, if you're diabetic or prone to obesity, that the sugar in the fruit may be a bit problematic with your insulin level. So just watch that. If you take your insulin regularly, it may spike depending on how much of the berries you eat. Berries are typically very high in sugar. So
Yeah, but they say it's a better sugar than regular sugar, let's say.
it is. Yep. You get fructose with this, and sucrose is even higher if you're familiar with the glycemic index. That was good. Neil, I agree. That's my favorite so far. Okay, next one. We're ready to go. Any questions on that one?
One more question. Would this be good for breakfast, or something to start the day, or a pick-me-up during the day, or?
Absolutely. You certainly can eat them whenever you like. I would typically do my smoothies after my workout. If you want to add protein powder, some type of whey protein powder. I can't do whey because of the problem I have with dairy.
Right.
But you can get grass-fed whey now, and all kinds of alternatives. And they have hemp protein, soy protein, kinds of powdered alternatives. Powdered protein alternatives. Okay, the next one. Everybody see this? Whoops.
No.
These are my peppers. My colorful peppers. Wonderful for all the flavonoids that are in them, and polyphenols, the antioxidants. And then they also have capsaicin in them, which helps to burn fat.
Now, what kind of peppers are you talking about? A regular red pepper or spicy peppers?
Nope, these are just regular bell peppers.
Bell pepper. We can't see it. We can't see it.
You can't see it.
No, it just looks orange to me. I don't know.
There you
Oh,
go.
sweet pepper. Okay,
Sweet
great.
peppers. Yeah, pretty simple. Thanks, Neil. Okay, so I'm going to take a couple of these, as brightly colored as I can get them. I'm going to take a yellow, orange, and a red one. I'm going to cut it up and go from there. Just cut the top off, throw it in. How many of you do the cooking, or the vast majority of cooking, for your home or family?
Nope, not me.
You do not?
Nope.
That's why these are simple. Wow, they're easy.
There's no seeds in there, is there?
There are seeds, yes, but they're harmless.
Okay, so you're putting the seeds in also. You're putting the seeds in also, right?
I am putting the seeds in also. However, it's the outer part of the sweet pepper that gives it its highest antioxidant
Okay.
flavor and levels. And then I'm going to add another avocado slice right here.
Avocado.
Okay, peppers, avocado. All right. Here's the next one. And then I'm going to put in the sweetener. I'm going to put in my grapes. And then we're going to put in the base again of yogurt and coconut milk. A little bit of it.
Can you use any color grapes?
Pardon me?
Can you use any color grapes?
Yes. I noticed that the black grapes today were seedless and they were on sale as well. They have the exact same chemical in it. I love red grapes because of the resveratrol in them.
They're going to be better than the green ones, that's for sure.
Yeah, they are. I don't, it's just me. Maybe
Yeah.
because I've been eating them so long, I think they have a better taste.
They're sweeter.
They're sweeter. Yeah, I'm used to them. Okay, so we're going to put in our base. Now, probably should have started with this, but it'll work. It all mixed together. So about a half cup, quarter cup to a half cup there per serving. I'm going to put in my 1 to 2 tablespoons of almond milk yogurt, which has all kinds of cultures in it. And then I'm going to add a little bit of ice. Here we go. There we go. That'll work. All righty. And I'm going to chop.
That's it.
Okay. The only thing that I've noticed when I use ice at home is that it will tend to dull my blades a little faster than usual. So that's why I'm mixing this thoroughly as I can. Okay, still got a few chunks in there, but try it again.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous about this one, but I'll try it.
Yeah, this is not going to be real sweet. Again, you might want to add stevia. I'm going to try it.
Feels like there's a whole bunch of foods in here blended together.
Blend it together.
And it doesn't taste bad, actually.
Really?
I was worried.
You didn't like it, Neil?
It's much better than I thought it was going to be.
Oh,
Interesting.
The bell pepper should actually be pretty sweet. If you're like me, I have not done sugar, a lot of sugar in years. And so I have kind of a low tolerance to sugar. So sometimes I'll add a pepper or two to my salad to sweeten. That is sweet enough for me. But it may not be sweet enough for you. If you want to add a little stevia, feel free. Okay, so this is avocado. You're getting your healthy fats in there. This is pepper, colored bell peppers, and I used 1 orange, 1 yellow, 1 red. And then this is also red grapes, about half cup of red grapes. All right. A very different flavor, Then, of course, the chocolate and the berry, but to me, it's very sweet. Yeah.
It is sweet.
Good. That's interesting.
I got some avocado chunks in there, but that's okay. Okay, mazel tov. On to the next one. We're on number 5. Start this one with my yogurt again. And this time I'm going to add a little bit more yogurt than the last time. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of yogurt to this. Just a little bit. And this, by the way, was on sale today for $5.49 at Smith's. This is usually around $7 or $8 for 16 ounces. It's not cheap. So I was glad to find it on sale today. Okay, then I'm going to do my coconut milk. And unsweetened, of course. All right. And a little bit, not much, just a little bit. Cools it down. But these berries are frozen, by the way, so it should be plenty cool going down. I'm going to go a little bit less on the berries. There we go. By the way, the research that I'm sending you also talked about elderberry extract. It's the exact same chemical, the anthocyanins, the flavonoids that I was talking about that fight viruses. But you cannot eat elderberry by itself. It's toxic. You have to get the elderberry syrup. It's been boiled at very, very high temperature to extract the juice or the syrup from it. But you can get it, again, at, what's the other one? Natural Grocers. Natural Grocers, and you can also get it in packets. If you go to Whole Foods, acai and elderberry syrup may be sold in the freezer side by side. So just ask your grocer. They should know their inventory pretty well. Okay, so I got my basin here of yogurt. I added a tablespoon of yogurt. I put in the base of ice and also the coconut milk. Okay, to that I added berries. Now I'm going to put in a whole bunch of grapes. I got one there that just rolled on the floor. So this is going to be very, very brightly colored. And then I'm going to put in just one pepper on this one. So this would be loaded with those flavonoids, which help fight disease. By the way, flavonoids are also your #1 cancer-fighting food. It's interesting that more oncologists don't recognize this, but flavonoids have been used for years to fight cancer. And it also makes great sunscreen, and oh, it's wonderful, wonderful stuff. Okay, I'm just going to pick these all out of here. All right. How are we doing on time, Neil?
You're at 1 hour right now.
1 hour, okay. I've got one more to go, and then we're done. Take your questions and go from there. All right, we'll mix this all together, and away we go. Oh, I got my pepper. I'm going to add a yellow pepper, just one yellow pepper. Cut this up quickly. Dice it. I'm going to have Neil, once I mix this up, I'm going to have Neil bring it closer to the computer and the camera so you can see how brightly colored this is. Okay, Neil's got the honors. Can you all see how the bright purple that is?
Yeah.
Got all the flavonoids in there. That tells you you're just loaded with flavonoids. And you've probably got hundreds of thousands to millions of flavonoids in a cup. That's how much antioxidant power. By the way, just to give you a little idea, for comparison's sake, acai, which is the same color as your blueberries, are going to have about 10 times the antioxidant bioavailability and content as the same serving of blueberries. So pound for pound, cup for cup, serving for serving, acai is going to be much higher in antioxidants than even blueberries, and blueberries are pretty high. All right, but for our purposes, we'll try this. All right, Neil, here we go. This is going to be the highest and the most colorful. Highest blue, and I'm going to grab some more cups over here. You taste that one pepper,
but it's sweet, so it's good.
It's sweet. It should not be, none of these should be too overpowering in anything. By the way, that is pretty good. Cardiologists will tell you that sodium causes inflammation. That is not accurate. Sodium does not cause inflammation. Sodium is an electrolyte. Sodium and chloride are on the outside of the cell. Potassium is on the inside of the cell. And it's when they get out of balance, usually potassium will drop, particularly on hot days like this if you're exercising outside or outside for extended periods of time. But sodium remains very stable in the blood over time. They've tested the sodium chloride levels of long distance runners, marathon runners. And believe it or not, at the finish line, it's virtually the same as it was at the beginning, but it's potassium that is reduced through sweat, and that's what causes the muscle weakness and fatigue. So, but it does not cause inflammation. Sugar causes inflammation, just so you're aware of that. Well, so far, so good. This is my favorite, I think, so far. Any questions on this one? This was the berries, the grapes, and one pepper.
Yogurt, milk.
I tell you, I got so many flavonoids in me. If Neil turns out the lights, I'm going to glow in the dark here. My goodness sakes. All right. All right, we're going to do our last one here and then take your questions and go from there. I like that with a little extra yogurt. It was a little smoother, in my opinion. All right. We're going to start again here with a little bit of ice. There we go. And we're going to start with yogurt again. This time I'm going to go a little less yogurt. About our 1 to 2 tablespoons there. And we're going to mix the cocoa. Oh, we got to put our coconut milk in. All right. Now, I wouldn't worry too much about the coconut milk versus the content. If you've got more fiber, so in other words, if you add more berries or if you add more peppers, you're probably going to need a little bit more liquid to break that up. Otherwise, it's going to be too gritty. So I'll let you kind of work that. I'll send you these recipes, but you can adjust to taste essentially. All right, now I'm going to add about half the cocoa powder that I had in the last one. So just 1 teaspoon here. So that's not too overpowering. And believe it or not, I'm going to mix it with a couple peppers and then grapes to sweeten it. Does anybody have any health condition that has been helped by certain foods, or have you noticed a pattern of eating certain things in certain quantities even that have maybe helped reduce pain or inflammation or any of the side effects of diabetes, heart disease, high cholesterol. You noticed any of that?
No.
No. The Greeks had it right. They said, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. And I firmly believe that. There's a food for everything. Every disease, every organ, every ailment can be cured with food. Okay, this is very simple. I've got my base of yogurt, coconut milk, ice. All I did was add a teaspoon of cocoa powder, and I put in 3 peppers, and now I'm going to double the grapes. So whatever you had to sweeten it, take that bitterness out of the cacao or the cocoa powder, whatever you had in the previous one for grapes, if it was a 1/4 cup, do a 1/2 cup. If it was a 1/2 cup, do a full cup. Okay? And we'll assume that that's a cup right there. All right? For the sake of time, we will blend this together. This will be our final smoothie. Alrighty. This one has a little bit more liquid in it because of the grapes. The grapes have a lot of water in them, or liquid. Alrighty, Neil, away we go. This one you could probably drink through a straw. Very easy. A little less ice, a little less cocoa powder.
If anyone who knows me well enough would know, for me to taste all 6 of these is really outside of my comfort zone, because I don't taste anything like that. I don't think I would like. But this one's not too strong.
Not bad.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
pretty good.
So there you have it. There are your 6 smoothies with 3 ingredients. Pretty simple. And as you can see, each one took me, just a few minutes to prepare. So they're time conscious if you're in a hurry. So for those of you who need to get out the door in the morning for work or what have you, activities of the day, very, very simple. Okay, questions, guys? Good.
Do you put any kale in any of your drinks?
Yes. Let me come back here. Kale, it has got the chemical called chlorophyll in it. Chlorophyll will clean the toxins out of your cells, primarily heavy metals and ammonia. Years ago, there were cleaning products had a lot of ammonia in them. And I noticed I was using them. And when I lived on the west side of town here on Decatur, or off of Decatur, I noticed I wasn't feeling real well. And it was somebody that suggested, check the ammonia, the amount of ammonia in your cleaning products, and try to get that out because it has a higher molecular weight than oxygen and hangs out toward the floor, like in the lower 2 feet of the floor. And I had a little dog as well, and they said, how's your little dog doing? I said, well, what would that matter? Well, it's the ammonia. So I went from ammonia-based products like Windex to cleaning with apple cider vinegar and water. Real simple, natural things. So, and that's what chlorophyll does. It'll just clean that stuff right out of your cells. And then heavy metals, as you're out walking, sometimes you can get heavy levels of lead and, of course, toxins like carbon dioxide from the vehicles if you're breathing that in. And that'll just come right out your mucous membranes. So if you've got mucus. By the way, that's another sign of a healthy immune system. If your If your spit or your mucus is light yellow to white to clear, that's an indication of a healthy immune system. But if it's greenish brown, consistently, that's a compromised immunity. And of course, fatigue would be another one. You know, we're made of a bunch of cells. You know, you get tired. If you're tired all the time, that may be an indication. You know, I struggled with chronic fatigue syndrome for years. That may be an indication your immune system is compromised. Anything else, guys? Any other questions?
Mm-mm. No.
Well, thank you for joining us. It's been a delight to meet you and work with you today. And we'll send you these recipes. I'll also send you this assessment. And if you get this back to me, I would appreciate it. It just gives you a little idea as to where you are, where your immunity is currently, and how you can improve it. Not whether it's good or bad, just the extent to which you can improve your immunity. And we've got a class evaluation for you as well. If you'd like these recipes and additional information on my free newsletter, e-newsletter, I'm happy to send that to you as well, and look forward to corresponding with you in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys, very much.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right.
Thanks.
Remember, stay healthy by staying informed.
Thank you.
God
You
bless.
too. Bye-bye.
Bye now. Well, it worked. Awesome.